Right, so we could do the whole, let's just wait and see who comes on, but we're not going to. So good evening and welcome to the third show on Dead Ends with myself, Kelly Ellis and CJ Simmons. And the topic this evening is Go Fund Yourself. Pretty much what we're going to be asking this evening is, does it really have a place in the paranormal to be asking for donations to help towards the cost of equipment, materials and locations? So first of all, I'm going to introduce our guest today, Ashley Knibb. Hi Ashley, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Do you want to explain to the guys in the chat room that are coming on who you are and what you do?
That's a good question. I like to think I'm a paranormal investigator. Or was a paranormal investigator. I'm author, so I've written a book, Supernatural Synchronicity, or co-authored a book with Sarah Shimashiro, another blogger who's a bit like me, about the paranormal, and that's on Amazon. So anyone who wants to go and have a read of that. I've got a website, ashleyknibb.com, exactly how my name spelled, funnily enough. And on there, I've got years of blogs and stuff like that I've put on there from all about ghost hunting, locations, kit, everything. One of the biggest ones that I probably blog about is what I call psi theory, which is kind of my view of how paranormal kind of works or might work, and or as I learn more kind of thing. So that's kind of the biggest kind of aspect, I suppose, of what I write about.
Fantastic. Okay, so if anybody wants any more information on Ashley, he's on Facebook, Ashley Knibb. So make a note of his name. If you want to message him privately around how to get hold of his book, please do.
There.
Yeah. Just there somewhere.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so Ashley, quick question for you before we jump right into it. When is it acceptable, do you think, to ask for donations?
That's a wide open question. I suppose it's acceptable if you're doing some kind of charity set up, in that kind of aspect. So in which case, the funds that you're asking for are going somewhere. And I suppose it could be in relation to GoFund sites like Kickstarter and such. I suppose if you're starting some kind of business, in which case you're going to have a product or something that you can offer for people to have a part of, or at the end of investing, they might get something out of it, because that's generally how those sites kind of work. Those are kind of okay aspects of it. So I think that's kind of okay-ish.
Yeah. CJ, what do you reckon?
Oh, well, GoFundMe. I mean, I've got an issue with particular groups that want to go fund for equipment and locations and stuff like that. Go pay for it yourself, guys. Do you know what I mean? Plain and simple. Why are you asking other people to pay for it? Pay for it yourself. I've had to. I'm pretty sure Ashley has had to. I'm pretty sure Kelly has had to, and quite a few people in the actual chat room would have paid for their own stuff. I just don't. It doesn't compute with me, to be quite honest. If it's a good for a good cause, like Ashley was saying, if it's to fund something worthwhile, then I haven't got no problem whatsoever with GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But what I have got a problem with is with people that say, I did see one some time ago, and it was on Facebook, and it was put up, somebody shared it, and I was like, what? Somebody wanted to have a GoFundMe page put up to buy a little van so they could go abroad and do investigations. I don't know if you've seen that one. There's been quite a few of them, but this particular one was to go abroad and actually do investigations abroad. And I'm like, but hang on, that's benefiting you.
Yeah.
It was that right? Is that ethical to do that? And there's also
no.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there's also another one which I came across, and it's public. Some group actually put up about they wanted a van. The group didn't put the post up. Somebody else did on their behalf. And when they realised that it had been done within an hour, 2 hours, it was taken down by the group. Yeah. Now that's good ethics. That's good ethics. That group took that decision to do that. And in all fairness, I'm not going to name them as such, but, credence to those people for doing that sort of thing, because they knew it was wrong.
Yeah. Well, we've got some great examples, as you can see up on the screen. EBBW Vale Paranormal Society doing a 12-hour lockdown in a haunted building. You can see quite clearly here, BBC Children in Need. That's who they're donating their money to. And that's what it's set up to. So anything donated, as you can see here, £189, goes towards straight into the BBC Children in Need. So I think things like that absolutely deserve a good mention.
Yeah,
that's just given as well, isn't it? So yes, it's funding into a charity, which is worth doing. Which we've all done charity events at some point in time.
Yeah.
Good.
Beverly Turney says, I don't think other than charity, we should Gofundme. We choose to do this hobby and I've never asked for money of any kind. I don't charge for my documentations. It's my hobby.
Exactly. That's the point in a nutshell, isn't it? I think, to be fair, it's a hobby.
Yeah. So what do we think then about the bigger groups that make money? Because they have to make money, that's how they make their money. What do we think about the bigger groups that actually then have a donation page? A bit like here for Ghost of Britain. So they say that they set this up because they've been asked by many of their followers on social media pages to start a GoFundMe so they can kindly donate to Ghost of Britain to help with things like travel expenses, locations, and other expenses they have during their investigations. They are entirely voluntary, but greatly appreciated. And I mean, they've raised quite a lot of money. I mean, over their target. What do we think about that?
I saw a comment in the on the side there. I think it might have been Liz actually that put it there. I think she say if some people are willing to fund these people, then more for them sort of thing. I mean, situations like this, I don't really agree with because it's I mean, these are internet. There you go. Yeah. These guys, okay, yeah, they're interested in paranormal. They investigate it and they do their view, their approach of doing it. But predominantly, from what I've seen on the internet and stuff like that, predominantly they're content providers. They produce content for the internet, YouTube, and streaming and all that kind of stuff. And those also have their own methodologies, like Facebook, the gaming platform, for making money that way as well. So it's another revenue stream by asking people to pay into things like that. I don't think that that's really an ethical way to gain money. And also, even though they claim it as a business, they shouldn't be asking people for that kind of thing. They should be generating that money themselves in order to build that business themselves. So and I know these are difficult times for independence and stuff like that, but still, yeah.
No, I agree, because I think some bigger teams actually have like merchandise that they sell as well. So there's still that revenue to be had regardless of the times that we're in. And I think that one was set up over 20 months ago anyway. Excuse me.
Can I just butt in? Listen, guys, to all the dead enders in the actual chat room as well. Let's try and keep it civil. There is a couple of comments coming up. We don't agree 100% with the comments like that. Let's try and keep it civil as possible. It's about GoFundMe. Have your say, and put your point across. Be valid, but let's try and keep it to an easy chat type. And also, Kev Kerr, stop taking the piss. I'll be on to you, sunshine.
So,
the old mucker.
She says, I'm always skint, but proud I pay for my equipment and investigations myself. Let's have a look. Mandy Bell, sorry, but think it's really wrong when groups are setting up GoFundMe. Well, we've already discussed that one. Sorry, Mandy, that one's been and gone. Completely agree, and it was them who set it up. Yeah, sorry, we're not going to go there. We've already discussed that. To me, that's a joke. Every company or group should fund themselves. If you don't do it for a hobby, then why would you need paying for it? I would do lives just to pull people to my page that may book events. But if they just want to come on and watch a live, then so be it. I mean, each to their own, really, isn't it? As far as what you do to get people to come to your page, that's a completely different show. But
yeah.
Kelly, just to let you know, I think Lee Steers commented it. He's
Yeah.
got a point which he's just put up there. That GoFundMe is actually 3 years old. We haven't used the GoFundMe for years, so get your facts right. So,
well, that's fair
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
there you are.
It's up and running, so if you're not using it, shut it down.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. It just needs to be shut down.
Yeah. Right. All right then. So, CJ, do you think then that us in the paranormal field are misusing GoFundMe for all the wrong reasons?
No, I just think it's another element to where people can jump onto. They see something there that they can use that will help them get along in the paranormal. It's just with me, I just don't configure, to be quite honest, why you can't buy your own equipment, why you can't pay for your own insurance, why you can't pay for your own locations. Well, if you can't do it, join a group, be part of a group where they all pay subs, okay, do it without having to go fund me. I just it's pooch, head's gone with it, to be quite honest.
I ran my own group years and years ago, and that's exactly what we did. We in the end we set it up so we paid like almost like a monthly subscription to being part of the team, and that went into paying for I can't remember now because it's been so long, but paying for the insurance that you have to have, paying for the locations so we could hit about 8 locations a year if we wanted to, and also so we could buy bits and pieces of equipment. It actually helped us buy at the time we was using a CCTV. That's how far back it is. A CCTV system as well, and that cost us a good few £100. But that's because we had those subscriptions that enabled us to have that money. I think it's the classic mindset of people wanting to have all this stuff now rather than having to do the old school thing of saving a little bit of money up and then buying the things later on. So we live in a credit driven age, unfortunately, and that's probably why that mentality is there.
I think you're right.
I think Kev actually mentioned something. It's about being a devil's advocate about playing computer games. I haven't got a problem with people being content providers within the paranormal, because I mean that's one step from going from there up and into the TV industry if they want to go if that's the path they want to take. So in my mind, if they want to create content and then get paid for that through YouTube or Facebook stars, I think it is, or whatever it's called, show me age now, and all that kind of stuff, and that's fair enough. I just think things like asking for like people to provide charitable money like GoFundMe or a charity site is probably a little bit unethical, because you're kind of taking money for nothing. Providing content, Patreon is another one as well, to be fair. All those kind of things, all these things can generate revenue and cash for these people if they want to generate it that way, without having to go through the GoFundMe kind of route.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we've got one up at the moment, and it's a fundraising campaign by A Savage 70 from Salisbury, and it says, "Hello and welcome to my fundraising page here on Go Get Funding. My name's Andrew and I'm an out of work paranormal investigator. Being out of work, I'm unable to keep up with new equipment that is being sold. Also being unable to pay location fees being asked for by owners. Many thanks for any donations, however small." I think that just sums it up, really. If you can't afford it, don't do it. It's like, I need to save up.
I mean, locations wise, I mean, the way we used to get around that back in the day, you used to divide it up between the people. So if a location costs £300, they probably cost a lot more these days, to be fair. But if it costs £300, you'd get 10 people interested and you'd divide it up. That's £30 a head. That's how it works in equipment. I mean, I always stand by the fact that equipment is equipment in the day. If you want to use it, you can. But I mean, taking details about what happened in a notebook or journal is probably the first step of any paranormal investigator or ghost hunter. So equipment is just fanciful in mine.
Listen, the best bit of kit you've got out there is eyes, ears, a brain, and a notepad and a pen. And yes, Kev Kerr, I did say notepad and pen, mate. So, because I know he's going to go, see, he's learning.
So, Kirsty Louise Ager, hopefully I've pronounced that right, Kirsty. "I don't agree with the GoFundMe or PayPal. They choose to do ghost hunting. They should find it themselves." Mandy Bell, "The sad thing is there's also groups asking for money for charity and then the charity don't appear to benefit." Well, the way around that, I've gone in and had a look at a lot of these GoFundMe, so I've done a little bit of research. So if you're anyone, but let's take into account we're talking to people within the paranormal field today. So let's say a paranormal team or investigator sets up a GoFundMe because they want to raise money for charity. As long as they input the charity in on there, that's where all the money goes to. So that person doing the GoFundMe doesn't see a single penny. It just automatically goes off where it's meant to go off. If you're saying you're raising money for charity, but then the charity isn't there in the corner, that money is unfortunately going straight into the account of the person who set up the GoFundMe. So with GoFundMe in particular, that money, although you'll see a big sign that says they've raised, I don't know, £1,900, actually every penny that you're sending them instantly goes straight into their account, into their own account.
I think that's part of the sad element of it as well, isn't it? To be fair, it's like that's the money for nothing kind of aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's if the charity is implicated or there's a connection to a charity, like I said, if there's not the link there, then they shouldn't be doing it. Because I think that's pretty fortunate, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, so it's good ways. So there's good ways to know whether your money that you want to donate is actually benefiting a charity.
Definitely.
Is to just look in the corner, and the charity should be there with the registration number, their logo, everything like that. And then you guys will know that your money is going directly to that charity. Beverly Turney says, I have seen Eric Vital from the TV series doing a GoFundMe page for paranormal equipment while doing the Conjuring House in December, and that seriously beeped me off, because why would we fund him when his shows have been on telly? Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on. True. Money for nothing.
I also think that everybody needs to understand that everybody's got different views and opinions on this, and there's quite a lot of it coming through the dead enders in the chat room. But, bear in mind, guys, that we are just discussing GoFundMe, and it's people's personal beliefs of how they feel about it. So it's not that it's people being targeted or whatever, it's examples being used, and that's all it's being done. Is if you want to come on and have a say, feel free. Carrie can bring you on and have a say. The link is there. We're happy to discuss it, but we're not knocking anybody. And everybody seems to have quite a say on it, to be quite honest with you, in the chat room.
Yeah, doing well in the chat room tonight. So Rachel Gardner, she says, we're running a complete loss with money going out on insurance and website. We would never ask for help with GoFundMe payment. Times are tough for everyone at the moment. We run nights with no profit because we enjoy what we do, but GoFundMe should be used for people that really need help in the world.
Yeah. I suppose, in a sense, that's what my feeling is with GoFundMe. I know it's GoFundMe in the opposite, as it was pointed out earlier on, but at the end of the day, I do feel it's for people that really do need that help, and not everybody needs that help, I'm afraid to say. I mean, I've been in this for a while, and I funded myself constantly. And if I can't do an investigation, I can't do it because I can't afford it. I'm quite happy to say that, but I won't go out on a GoFundMe and say, hey, I'm desperate to go down to this location or desperate for this bit of kit. Could I have some money, please? Could people do it? It's up to people if they want to pay. It really is up to the individual.
And I also think if you're asking people to donate to you so that you can go to locations, you can buy new equipment, you can buy batteries or whatever it is, where's this proof that they've actually gone and done that with the money? Because I've done a lot of research. I've got a lot more bad examples and some really good ones as well. And I contacted quite a lot of them. Not every single one, but I've contacted some of them to find out how they got on with their zero target raised, to see if they actually went on and done anything about it, or did they manage to get to this location. Funny enough, I never got any replies.
Oh, no. That's disappointing.
And Mo Keegan's just put up, it says it's when you are asked to donate to a team's personal PayPal, that's not on. And again, no, that isn't on, because I don't know much about GoFundMe in the way it is, because I don't use it. I tried to use it once, because I was doing something for children with learning disabilities, because it's close to my heart. I've got 2 sons that are autistic, to get them into the astronomy side, and we were going to put up for a telescope for them to use. And we both, me and my mate, looked back and we just thought, you know what, sod it, we can get it ourselves. And we did. And luckily, one person, God bless her soul, whoever she was, put a £10 donation in there. But we didn't take the money. But GoFundMe contacted and said, if you don't take the money out of this account, it goes back to the person that sent it in.
Absolutely.
And yet I've seen quite a lot of, when I had a quick look at GoFundMe, a lot of money that was still left in there, but hadn't been taken out. I don't understand it. So we took ours down straight away. So, I've done it the once, but it was only up for 2-3 days. And we took it down because we went out and bought we've got 1, 2, 3, I'm looking at them now, 4 telescopes. But we did that ourselves.
Well done. Well, I'd just like to put it out there that I paid for my notebook and pen myself. Okay, so JB Paranormal Chasers. But again, I have 10 people in my team that help with events, and when allowed, they come out on lives with me. I don't charge subscriptions or do stars, despite people telling me I should. I started the company, I run the company, so I should fund the company. The team are using their time, so why should I charge them? I also run charity events once a month when events are allowed, where the company make nothing whatsoever, but I do it because I enjoy it and fund all my venues myself. Hats off to you. Okay, Justin, which church? Our group goes live on investigations purely for entertainment. We all work, so don't have the need for GoFundMe or subscribers. We believe in free entertainment, especially during the current economy. I've even built our own SLS camera and REM pod. Thanks, YouTube. Bless.
And there is that as well. I mean, as it's part of a hobby and all that kind of stuff, people can branch out into different areas of like media and stuff like that, like YouTube and aspects like that, and people do enjoy doing those bits and pieces of it. I mean, it is the whole live streaming thing and doing that kind of aspect of it. It wasn't something that I signed up for when I got involved, but it seems to be something that seems to be a massive part of it now, that kind of links the investigation that a lot of teams do to what TV teams do as well, and it kind of creates that kind of bridge between those two aspects. I mean, you don't have to go to fancy locations that cost loads of money. I think Liz put earlier that you can go to outside locations. There's a number of free ones, within reason, obviously, and permissions. So there are other things you can, and obviously I'm always the advocate of the research side of things. So there's always a library or an online resource. Not as fun as running around in the dark looking for ghosts, but it opens up a whole wide aspect of it.
So Kirsty, again, it's a double-ended sword, isn't it? They're trying to provide entertainment, but where does it stop? I don't mind helping people out starting up, but when it's constant begging, then I don't agree with it. Yeah, just scroll past. That's what I say, scroll past. So Mandy Bell, there's a group doing it through their same PayPal account that they use for readings. Okay. Well, if you're worried and you think something is a scam or something's not right or something's fishy, then just don't donate. Debbie Hewlett says we should always ask for proof of where the money is going. And that's true. That really is true. But I think the thing with GoFundMe, and I have to play devil's advocate myself here, is that it is down to the person, is it not, donating to make that decision whether they are going to give somebody money.
Yeah.
So do we think that we need to, as the person asking for the money, do we think that that person that may donate money to us needs as much information as possible? Because these short sentences that I'm reading are just diabolical.
Also, more clarification around what they're asking money for in order to better justify why they're asking for the money and where it's going and how it's going to be utilised and how the person giving the money can then benefit from it in the future, maybe.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
So here's a question which I'm going to throw in there and throw out there to everybody in the chat room as well. Say now I go on to GoFundMe. I see a paranormal investigation group put up that they're looking for donations. They're new. They're looking for donations to go to a location because it's really expensive. And I chuck, say, 20, 30 quid into it, and I donate it, right, into it. They take that money out. Then later on, I find out that they did not use that money for that intended purpose. What protection is there for me to get my £30 back if I wanted my £30 back?
There isn't.
So there's no protection because you've donated that £30. But so there's no recourse to say, well, that group hadn't used that money for that intention, so they just take it. But that's deceit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you laughing at this post? So we've got Haunted House of Pearl. So Haunted House of Pearl are a very small ghost hunting group set up in 2019, streaming live on Facebook. They search out for paranormal activity using just a camera and a torch. Without creating too much of a diversion with technology, as they like to keep it small and simple. So basically, guys, you're paying for a torch. They want a new experience for their viewers with additional equipment. So they're asking for a 360 camera to video the live and infrared videoing for additional in the dark footage. Can we help them create a new experience, never been done before? 360 live ghost investigation by donating.
I think it has been done, and also I think they've kind of contradicted themselves by the fact that they didn't want to diverse from to having too much technology. Then they've jumped to a lot of technology.
So Ashley, will you be donating to Haunted House of Pearl?
I'm going to give that one a miss.
There are some really funny ones, let me tell you. Okay, so go back to going back into the chat room because it goes so quickly. Okay, so Gareth, many of the big groups are conning people into thinking they're a genuine investigating team, where at the end of the day, they are a business and a business exists to generate income. It's that simple. I think we've kind of agreed. Some small way. What do you think, Ashley?
I don't think they all are, to be honest with you. I don't think all. I think, in fact, a lot of groups that even present themselves as a business aren't even a business because they're still, what they're doing is still within the realms of a hobby or an extra piece, something they do in their spare time and not their main job. Yes, it's got the potential to be a YouTube channel or is a YouTube channel and could provide income if they set it up correctly and all that kind of stuff. But getting there these days isn't quite as simple as it used to be when it comes to YouTube with the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And also, there's a hell of a lot of other content providers out there doing the same sort of thing already. So I see a lot of these things that they do advocate. So we're a business, and it's like, but you're not really a business because you're not really. You don't produce anything. You don't have a service. So and you may do a couple of events every now and then, but then that's mainly to generate more revenue to help sustain yourself as a group, which is fine. I haven't got a problem. I think that's brilliant actually. When groups do that, they do events every now and then to help generate that extra money. That's what they should be doing. But they're not specifically a business still. I mean, there are big business out there within the paranormal that do like events and haunted events on a regular basis and stuff like that, and conventions and all other kind of lovely stuff as well. But I think there's a lot of smaller groups that are advocating themselves as being businesses, and they're not really businesses, are they?
Yeah.
No.
Does that make sense?
Well,
Sorry, Colin. You carry on.
I was just going to say you can do. It's been mentioned in the chat quite a few times, I've noticed. But you can always check on these businesses. Check on Companies House. I mean, there's a couple of people that have commented on there. Check on there and see. I love it when I check on them and I see that sometimes some of these companies don't actually make a profit. And I'm sat there and I'm thinking, I think they do. They must make a profit, or why would they be doing it? But when you look at the accounts put in, it's sometimes, what I forget the word. I apologize. I forget the word that they use, but it's basically that they don't make a profit at the end of the year. so they don't put anything in. So they get like maybe a pound or £2 or something like that. Where you know damn well by the cost of the location and how many people that they take, and they're making money, although they've got overheads, obviously, but they're bound to be making some money. But I mean, Company's House is one of the Company's House need to be. It's teethless, if that makes sense. They've got no power to act. Anybody that can set up a company, anybody can set up a company on it. The checks are ridiculous, to be quite honest. And I think the government, if I remember correctly, over the last couple of months, I think there was a big documentary or a chat program on about it that I watched. They were saying they want to toughen up and give more rules or some teeth to Company's House to act when potential fraud's being done, say, for argument's sake.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should do.
So it's quite interesting, actually, that we're talking about that. And we'll just go slightly backwards in going forwards. And we'll go back to touching on making money through donations. So I came across this one. It's quite an old one. So obviously, I'm just putting it out there because it's quite an old one. But this one is Northumberland Ghostbusters are at a brand new location at the infamous Chillingham Castle. So it bangs on about Chillingham Castle, and it's an event which is not to be missed. So it goes into detail the investigation, and it starts at 10:30. Yada yada yada. Tickets cost £50 with a non-returnable deposit of £25 before June the 30th. And here we go. So what you can see is all these people who've paid their money to go to an event. How would these people, let's say the event didn't go ahead, which it did, but let's say this event didn't go ahead, how would these people get their money back?
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, this is just not an acceptable way to sell tickets to an event.
They're selling tickets for a GoFundMe page. That's ridiculous, because you need, if you sell tickets to an event, as many people probably in the chat probably know as well, it needs to be done in a way, and for CJ as well, you have to do it so you've got a register of who paid what and when, so that if it all goes Pete Tong, then you can go, right, actually here's your refund of your ticket back, because within reason and all that kind of stuff, and that's just normal trading in a way.
Yeah.
And hence, that what they've done there. Yeah, they could have literally gone all the way through that and gone, yeah, it's not going to happen. Sorry, it got cancelled. It's not our fault, and keep the money.
Yeah,
and those people would have nothing to say. And was that £3,000 I saw there?
Yeah, over £3,000.
Yeah.
Their total to raise was 1,500, and they made over £3,000. So yeah.
How many people was that then? Just out of curiosity. Because when you scroll through, it seemed to be far too many for an event, unless they would, because you wouldn't get much out of that.
Oh my God, the list just goes on. I'd be here all night.
I've seen some event companies advertising up to 40, 50, 60 people at an event. Wow. Yeah, literally. And I'm like, I do them myself down at the inn. And I can tell you, we limit to 30. That's it, because it's easier, manageable. 10 in each thing. I got 60. How can you get enjoyment out of that?
I mean, unless the location is huge, even then, you're still going to have a lot of sound traveling from 60 odd people. So is that you won't be able to do certain things, and that's.
Lee Steer has just come in and commented. He's got a point here, and he's got, I bet you in 3 years' time there is more teams doing entertainment rather than event companies. I would put my money on it. I would agree there, to be quite honest.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd say he's probably got a good point there, to be fair, because I think a lot of them are driving towards live streaming and stuff like that, and then there's obviously being content providers opposed to events, and as those two tipple over, and content providers are more stable probably than events. I mean, last year and this year is probably good evidence for that. In the fact that we've still got content providers, but events companies are now shut doors. So yeah, you've got a point.
She says, would guests buying tickets through GoFundMe be covered by insurance?
Pass.
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
What insurance? You're donating money based because you want to. This is giving.
bank card or credit card might have some coverage on it.
Might do. Yeah.
Might. I can't
Yes.
say.
Yeah, if you use your bank card, you are covered by Consumer Act or something with that. But
especially credit cards.
Yeah. I mean, what's Trisha put up? Trisha's put up a post as well. Loads have taken the entertainment route. I'd like to see more education because it's like a zombie apocalypse at the moment, popping out the ground everywhere and nothing new and fresh. It has become very boring. I quite agree with that as well. I really agree with that.
Another show,
nice
I think.
One, Trish.
Show.
Yeah, maybe a potential.
Jockey Solomon McKay. I run a small paranormal group in Scotland, and in my spare time I design, build and test my equipment, which at my cost have donated to other teams in the UK who have the same passion to aid them in their investigations. Well, that's fine, because you want to do it. So, we're not saying don't. This is just our opinion.
That's how we do. That's how we've always done things, to be fair. People have had a certain passion for a certain area of the paranormal when they've looked into it and built that area and then shared it with other people.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Okay, so CJ, any more on that, my love?
Well, to be quite honest, I just want to pick up on something that has been posted there because I've seen a few things mentioned about it. It's that people are comparing to these stars that you can now click on and donate. I mean, how similar is that to really GoFundMe to an extent where people can just donate money? Yeah, that's it. Alice.
Yeah.
It's a valid point, but I think, and I'm probably become David's advocate on this. I think a GoFundMe page is quite adamant, and it kind of like it can almost be a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
I think in order to pay or donate stars within, I think, the Facebook platform, you have to have obviously money on there to start off with in the first place, and also it's a content provided. So usually when they donate those stars, they're watching a piece of content. So someone will be live streaming or doing something in that respect, or I've seen Lee, who's on here. I've seen him doing investigations. I've seen other teams doing investigations. I've seen mediums doing readings from cards and stuff like that. And at the same time, so people can be like main followers, and then they can press the star and they can donate to that. I mean, it's reasonably similar to GoFundMe, but I think because of the aspect that it's in, and there's being content provided at the same time, I'd say that that's reasonably acceptable because they're kind of they're saying, I like the content you're providing. I'm going to donate towards you because I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it.
I'm going to reward you for what you've done there. That type of thing.
Yeah. Whereas the GoFundMe site, there's like they've done is put up a post. They haven't really delivered on it at that point, and you're giving them all this money. So yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference.
But some of this money is not declarable, is it? I mean, it's money. It's not declarable for tax or anything like that, is it? Especially with these stars and GoFundMe. That's another question which enters into a different realm.
No, it's income. It's an income stream, so it's all taxable.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure around the GoFundMe though, because it's a gift. It's giving. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's like me saying Happy Christmas. Here's £50. So you don't really need to declare. If you go to a boot sale and you do a boot sale, you don't need to declare that.
No.
So
does anybody in the chat room, and I'm speaking to everybody in the chat room, do anybody got any information on that could help us out on that? What's your view on it? Is it a taxable type thing or a free stream of money? Maybe one of these guys knows.
Well, Jimmy Jam, he needs donations for his investigation in Bali off a beach hut.
I'm going on that investigation, so I think it's
well, that's a good one. I'll get behind that one. I'll support that one for sure. Is there anybody in the chat room that wants to come in and put their point across as well? Because we've given the open invitation to come in. If you do, just message or put up and say you want to come in, and we'll be more than happy to have you come and join us. And then obviously, after a while, we'll boot you out, just in case somebody else wants to come in and join us.
Absolutely. Liz Connell says it should all be declared to HMRC even as a gift. You do need to declare boot sales. Tracy Collette, I have never sent stars to anyone, and I won't. You're entertaining me. Why should I pay for that? I have done my bit for charity, and I will carry on doing what I do. But funding people for a hobby, nope, I will not.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair
No.
enough. I mean,
No.
again, at the end of the day, this really does boil down to the individual who wants to
Donate.
gift money.
Donate, yeah.
You know, and what we're doing today is absolutely not telling anybody they shouldn't. We are literally discussing our own opinions on it. And if you don't like our opinions, then don't watch us. Go away. It's quite as simple as that. We appreciate all your opinions. And we're not saying we're right, you're wrong, or you're right, we're wrong. It's all good. And anything that's been put up today is from the public internet, so from the public domain, so anybody can find it. We're certainly not putting it up to make mockery of people. We're just, if we're going to do a show like this, there has to be examples, good and bad.
Of course.
And not only that, at the end of the day, you know, we're not always going to agree. Nobody's always going to agree. There's always going to be differences. And we're quite happy to say that it's okay to disagree. We've said this in previous shows. It's perfect for people to say, I don't agree with what you're saying. And that's great. So don't be frightened to come on and speak. And don't be frightened to come and join the show if you want to. And we still haven't had anybody take that up yet. But we don't bite, I promise you.
I can picture that.
And Least dear, will we enable stars on this page when you get them? Absolutely not. We've also been asked by Facebook if we want to do paid for lives. No, not interested. In fact, we've even gone out and subsidised our own badges to give away to people, and that does include the stamps and the envelopes, I might add. It's risky business. I'm prepared to do it. So if anybody would like a Dead Ends badge and they think they're worthy of one, give us a shout, and we'll try and sort you out.
Yeah.
So,
but that is a fair point of what he put up, because we would be approached at some point, but we have to practice, Lee, what we preach, and what we're preaching here is we wouldn't do that. It would come out of our own pocket. Hence why you've got all the StreamYard all over the place, because you know we haven't. It's free, you know. So use what you've got out there. But no, valid point, and I don't take it away from the bloke for saying that.
No. So Mo Keegan says any business that is legally registered has to declare profits, buy stars, etc. I have that in writing from the HMRC. So that answers your question.
That's interesting. That answers mine, doesn't it then?
And then we've got Vicky Watkins. Some teams constantly nag for stars and shares. I stick to teams that don't beg. Yeah, I find that really uncomfortable. So when you're watching something, especially when they start the live stream and they're left waiting for like 1,000 people to join. I mean, crap, just get on with it. It's so boring, just sat there waiting for people and going, hi, Rachel, hi. I'm bored. Cut it out. Just get to the point. I'll come back and watch it later because I ain't got time to waste 20 minutes waiting for you to start. Jane Rowley says, using Wonga used to be the user's choice, but they did take advantage of their customers financially and they were eventually all stopped. I don't know about that. I have to look into that, mate.
Kelly, can you send Beverly a badge, please? Because she's she wants to know where her badge is.
Well, Beverly, I asked you to send me your address. So send me your address. Liz Cornell's is going out tomorrow. So Beverly, send me your address and we'll certainly send you a free badge. Keep the envelope and the stamp, especially the stamp, because if they don't stamp it, you can reuse the stamp.
Yeah. Another freebie tip from Dead Ends.
Let's have a look. So Heidi. Hello, Heidi. She says all self-employed people swindle their books to suit the tax man, and that's usually on accountants' advice. I have owned my own business once before. Yeah, I must say though, I have owned my own business before and had an accountant, and the accountants used to tell me if you've got to buy a new pair of trainers, put it through the books and you'll get the tax back on it. And I'm like one of those people, I can't do it because I can't lie. So if the tax man was to knock on the door and go, what did you buy these trainers for work? I'd have to go, no. I can't lie. Liz Cornell says you don't have to be legally registered to declare. If you do it as a side business, up to you to register as self-employed and declare extra income. So that's fantastic. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some more GoFundMes that I've got ready to go. Let's have a look. So I think we've got a good one here. Let me have a look. Was it this one, or have we already done? No, we've already done that one. CJ, you carry on talking while I try and find the right one.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what do you have for dinner today?
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. There.
So not now, maybe later. So here's another good one. So as you can see, John Tully has done a paranormal ghost night, a lone investigation, raising money for Stand Up to Cancer. So again, if you look in the right-hand corner, you can see exactly where that money is going to go straight to. And I think that's a great idea. And well done to John Tully. Well done.
Well, again, another good example.
Yeah, fantastic example.
Now show me one of the worst examples.
Wow. Okay. I think I've gone through quite a lot of them, to be fair already. I really don't want to go through any more worst examples. Yeah. I think there's more than enough there to be carrying on with. Jimmy Jam does say, is it like a Blue Peter badge? If so, can I have one? Yeah, you can. With this badge, you can get onto Dead Enders for free.
Yeah, Kelly, did you just highlight Hayley's comment, really? Again, she's made a valid point there. She said, what about a certain group that's constantly posting for PayPal, asking for donations? If that's not begging, then what the hell is it? Is it begging? It opens up a can of worms, doesn't it, really, at the end of the day?
I have to agree. And ultimately, what is this making our field look like currently by doing that?
Yeah.
Realistically,
yeah.
What is it saying to the bigger audience if you're out there saying, I'm begging you for money, please send me money so I can buy a SLS camera? I mean, what are we doing, people? Let's just buy this stuff ourselves. Let's do a bit of education first about the tool that you want to buy before you go buy it.
Know how to use it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Know when to use it as well. I mean, often these things, there's no point. I mean, people buy all these pieces of equipment to use them because they look fancy, and it's all about reactive investigating because they get something happen at the same time, and it all kicks off, and they think it's fancy and all that kind of stuff. But half the time, and I'm going to probably upset a lot of people here, but half the time it's really invalid towards investigation techniques at all. Yeah. It doesn't help provide any evidence towards the paranormal. I mean, pictures, audio, video aren't great evidence. They're very, very subjective. Sorry, but they are. So all this bits of equipment aren't going to help you. So all the high-tech stuff that you want to buy with all this lots of money isn't going to. I mean, obviously the most expensive thing is access to locations, which has gone up over the years. I respect that, but then you could argue that as well to an effect. It's like, well, you're gambling every time you go to a location whether anything's going to happen at all. Because most of them are historic experiences that you're going to try and find to see if they'll happen again. They're not active. 9 times out of 10, they're not active locations. They're not an active, spontaneous case that's happening right this second. So you're always gambling with that kind of stuff, which means you kind of it makes it even more less ethical for people to ask for money for doing that sort of thing, I think. So you kind of have to go, well, I'm going to put my money into the frame to do that because I'm going to take that gamble.
Yeah. So Lee Steer says he's fine with people having opinions, but it's when I think he means opinions, but when the opinions that people air are wrong info. Well, I mean, you're always going to get those types of people. Personally, me and CJ go on facts, so we always do our homework. We would never, ever blatantly say something because it makes people look good. We always
not unless we can't. You've got to back up what you say at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if he's referring to earlier when you showed that site that related to him, then and he's claiming that site's no longer hasn't been used in years, then why is it still up then?
Yeah.
Is a valid point, and I'm sure he'd have the evidence to support that it's not been used and hasn't had any money taken from it for a long time. In which case, that's fair enough. That's point proven.
Yeah.
Which is
proof done and
same as what
dusted.
Outfield has to do. Yeah, anything to do with Outfield, we have to do that. We have to back it up a million times. That's why it's so difficult.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we give everybody, even if we're wrong, we're quite happy. I'm an individual that if I get something wrong, I'll put my hands up and say, I got that wrong, and sorry, and I think everybody should be of the same. This is why I love Dead Ends the way it is, because we will give people the opportunity, even if they disagree with us, to disagree with us. And we're happy because at the end of the day, everybody can still walk away politely and nicely. There's no need for arguing, fighting, or carry on, or grudges like that. I mean, I've never met Lee. I ain't got no problem with him. The way certain things are done, I don't agree, but that's me, and that's my right to not to agree. Don't mean I dislike the bloke. Like when we done the other shows with other people, they've never done anything wrong to me.
No.
So I'm not going to go. Yeah, they had the balls to come on and actually stand up and say we gave them that opportunity. What they did afterwards, that made themselves look silly, not us.
So Jane Rowley says, I think people are clever enough to sort out the riffraff who beg and the genuine causes. It's the sheep and the lemmings who follow without question that are part of the problem. Yeah, I think that's a true statement, in all fairness. Absolutely. But again, I go back to it is down to the person who's gifted to make that decision to gift or not, really. I think for me, to sum up tonight, for me personally, should people in the paranormal be using the likes of GoFundMe to make extra money for their own teams? No, not at all. I think, I was brought up, if you don't have enough money for it, then you save for it. And if you can't save for it, then you don't have it. And that's the way that it is. And it's not going to get you anywhere having to have the latest SLS camera or the latest EVP equipment. You are not going to appear on TV overnight because somebody bought you one. What you need to do, as Ashley has rightly said, is educate yourself. Because if you educate yourself on these pieces of equipment, you'll probably find you don't really need them, in all honesty. So how would you sum up GoFundMe, Ashley?
I think personally, talking tonight and all that from previous understanding anyway, I think asking people for money to fund your hobby or your interest, if you like, is probably a bit ethically wrong. To be honest with you, it's not quite right in that respect. So I don't think people should be asking other people to donate 3D money to them to go on investigations or to buy equipment and stuff like that. That's up to them to do if that's what their interest is. And I mean, when I started out, I didn't have much money to buy bits of equipment, so I gradually got, the first thing I took with me, I think, was a digital camera, a notebook, and a torch. And I think the torch was the only thing I brought, and that was $1.99 from a garage. So started slow. And you have to do those kind of things yourself. So yeah, I think it's unethical for people to use things like GoFundMe. I think you should fund yourself, or as your title says, go fund yourself, and that way it kind of works. I mean, this field is bigger than just ghost hunting, and I think you should widen your understanding and knowledge by reading and all that kind of other stuff as well. So
absolutely.
But there is another way that people can do it, and it's simple. It's the old-fashioned way that I did it. It's probably the way that most or some people in the chat group, I know quite a few that have done this. They've gone and hired a place. They've brought public in. They've charged an extra couple of quid on top to cover the cost, and they bought equipment that way.
Yeah,
go out and earn it.
Yeah.
Go out and earn it like everybody else does. That's all. Maybe I'm old school, I don't know, but that's the way I am. If I wanted a new bit of kit now, which I wouldn't, because I just don't deal with kit, but if I did, say if I wanted one of these new EMF meters or whatever they are, and I wanted it for the team, we would put on an event.
Yeah.
And we would charge an extra couple of quid, and I don't think people would begrudge paying the extra couple of quid if they're getting quality and for their money, to be quite honest with you. And then you just use that money to buy your kit. Plain and simple. You don't need GoFundMe. You don't need stars. You can do it that way. It takes a little bit longer, a little bit more work, but at the end of the day, that's what I would do.
It's because we're old school, CJ. Not afraid of work.
Less of the old you.
Hey.
So Megan McNulty says it's okay, it's their choice to donate, but a lot, if not most of the viewers are vulnerable, maybe lost a loved one, and to find hope that they will see them again. In her opinion, this is a taken advantage. Send us stars and I'll magic up a ghost.
I get that, to be fair.
Yeah, I get your thoughts behind that, Megan. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, right then. So Trisha Waters, sometimes when we have not met someone, we judge them on their social media persona, and they could be really nice in person. I've done it and then apologise for thinking someone was a twat when they were actually all right.
Yeah, exactly. That's our Trisha for you.
Again, I don't think this show in any way is trying to humiliate a particular person. We're talking about the wider spectrum of GoFundMe in its entirety. So, and other GoFundMe type crowdfunding and all of that out there. So again, I reiterate, everything that's been used tonight is on the public domain. And we have just used it as reference material. So please don't take offence. If you take offence, then sorry. Just the way the cookie crumbles. But thank you for the references.
But coming from me, if you take offence by it, well then, don't give it if you can't take it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you're in the public eye.
Yeah, if it's in the public domain, it can be used. And all we're doing, the show is about GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's not about this GoFundMe or this person or that person. It's about GoFundMe and about people's view on whether GoFundMe is a right avenue for some paranormal groups, some event companies, even some personalities to use to fund projects that they're currently doing.
Absolutely.
That's all it's about. You either agree or you disagree. Doesn't make no difference. It's up to you.
Right then. Okay, so I think that concludes this evening's Go Fund Yourself. I'd like to say a massive thank you on behalf of me and CJ to Ashley for joining us this evening.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's also nice to put a face. I've known about Ashley, but I've heard his voice. I've never actually seen Ashley.
Yeah, I just remember that. Yeah, been on a radio show, but never actually seen each other.
Yeah. So it's really nice to see it, So,
well, it's nice to virtually meet you both.
Shake hands.
Virtual shake hands. Yeah.
Or this new thing that they're doing. I don't understand that. What's that all about?
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Send me stars, lots of stars. Anyway, thanks ever so much, guys, in the chat room. You crack on, carry on talking and all that, and get it out of your system. Remember, you can always contact me and CJ anytime what boils your piss, and we can always run a show for you. No subject is off the books, so please get in touch with us. And it's a thank you from me for tonight.
It's a thank you from me as well. And don't forget, we've got another show coming up very soon, which is going to be twice as controversial. So we'll give you more details on that as it comes up. But it's a good night from me.
And Ashley?
It's a good night for me. Is this the two Ronnie sketches?
I should say it's a good night from her.
It's a good night from her.
To me, to you, to me.
Have you got 4 candles?
Not yet. I'll get them though. She's suggested it. I'm going to say, go fund me up first because I can't afford them. Right, anyway.
But Kelly, perhaps Ashley might like to come back on at some time on the show again. Maybe something that you might catch your eye and you might want to come back on. You're more than welcome, Ashley.
I don't think Ashley's got a choice. He's got to.
once I get my
well,
badge.
there you are.
Yeah, Ashley,
Do you know what? What would be a good show would be actually having Ashley and Kev Kerr together.
That would be
Two
good.
together. That
Trouble.
would be good.
That would be
Yeah.
the two buddies.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would.
That'd
That
be
would be great. That would.
Oh, bless. Anyway, thanks ever so much, guys, in the chat room. You have been amazing as always. Thank you so much for all your opinions. Just want you to know to stay safe. Okay, don't break lockdown rules. You've been warned. And sit tight, 8th of March by the looks of it. But don't panic. Don't worry. We've done this for bloody hell. What is it? Nearly a year now. We've got this, guys. We've got this. All right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.